Oh, snap. Why are we live?
I guess it's time to be live.
Ah! Are we alive? No, but we're live. All right. Hello, everyone.
We're sorry about the sudden sharp noise you just experienced.
I just realized I clapped right in front of the mic. Hi.
Just a minute. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Call coming through. That's his wife, his only beloved. So I guess I am host for now. Hello, welcome to the Odd Unicorn Podcast. I am Silas. I will be taking questions now. To 0 viewers. That tracks. I'm Silas. Welcome to the Odd Unicorn Podcast. Today, we are actually talking about Prejudice. We actually hinted at that last week, and we decided to do it. And we have 2 viewers. I can't see who you are, but hello, thank you for being here. If you have any comments, go ahead and leave them there. Yeah, I'm waiting for Andrew. He is talking. But other than that, we should be good to go. Oh, my man is back. I no longer have to occupy 2 chairs.
You're not that fat.
Maybe you are, but no.
Anyway.
I already gave him an introduction, told him what we're talking about. Okay. But I didn't want to talk about how our week has been until we had the person that talks about how his week has been. So, Andrew, Silas, ask me how my week has been.
Silas, how's your week been?
Andrew, you go first every time. What are you doing here?
I knew that was coming. Well, I'll go first and I'll tell you how my week has been.
Okay, cool.
It's been interesting.
Okay.
Just a second, I need to look at my... Oh, yeah, I remember. I was about to look at my calendar because I can't remember how my week has been. No. Well, okay, so Green Bay is the big city.
Near
big
us.
Air quotes there.
Yeah.
It's the place we go to for errands and shopping and going out to eat, blah, blah, blah. It's about 45-minute drive one way.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I accidentally turned that down earlier. There we go. I don't remember if that does anything or not.
That does.
Yeah, and so over the last week, I've been down there 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah. Each time was, fine, whatever. But yeah, so it's been, I don't know, it's not been super busy. It's not been busy like it has been lately, but it was still kind of busy. A lot of driving so far.
A lot of driving, yeah.
But it's been about normal. Good week. How about you?
I had a very interesting week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Should I wait? Should I wait to tell them until after the show? Or should I tell them now? I think I might. I'll wait. I'll wait for my final nugget till after the show. But overall, it's been interesting. Work's been interesting. By interesting, of course, I mean boring. And no, I'm thankful for what is God's given me. It's been a way to make money. And overall, not a whole lot happened. I did go to Oshkosh. That was nice. Was
that this week?
That was this last week. No,
that was 2 weeks ago. You already talked about that. Oh my
goodness!
You talked about that last episode.
My memory is failing me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just basically working DoorDash this week. That's basically been all we've been doing. So yeah, not much to report. But it's been fun.
Cool.
But yeah. We've had 2 pretty boring weeks, eh?
Pretty much.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's about to get busy.
That's true. It's gonna be a ride. Oh, actually, before this podcast even finishes, because I've heard some people don't make it to the end. In fact, most people do not make it to the end of my podcast. I wanted to say at the beginning of the podcast that we've nailed down a date for the Smash Brothers tournament. It's going to be June 2nd. It's going to be here at Andrew's house. If you need any details, I put a lot of the details in the Facebook invite, and that one is open to all of my friends on Facebook. And if you didn't get an invite and you're on Instagram, just DM me, and I will get you an invite. And yeah, it's going to be here. I can get you details if you need them. And it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to have Sloppy Joes and soda. Yes. Also, don't feel bad if you can't bring anything. Bringing yourself is enough.
Yeah.
So.
Or $10.
I would take $10. I'm not going to lie. I would take 20 if they gave it to me. You know?
Yeah.
It's like they're offering. I mean, I took $5 from someone today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just got gummy bears with it. I didn't even use it productively.
You didn't get gummy bears. You got
gummy cherries. My apologies, sir.
Whatever.
All right. Well, Prejudice. The first thing, I thought this as soon as I decided to do the topic. The first thing I thought to myself is, before we talk about prejudice, we have to define it. Because a lot of people get prejudice mixed with racist, sexist, discriminatory, discrimination. And, like, there's quite a few different words that all get clumped together in this, like, sea of hate, which, I mean, not to get political, even though I don't care if I do or not. A lot of the times it's the Democrats and the liberals that are pushing that. They have that agenda. They've had that agenda recently. Starting with women and now talking about race, and it's downward spiral. We don't need to go there. But because of that, I feel like the idea of prejudice and racist and all that has been muddled. So we need a definition.
So, prejudice. It's a fairly long definition, but I thought it might be good to read.
I think, yeah.
At least, yeah. So, here we go. Listen up. I'll read slowly so you can hear everything. Prejudice. An opinion or decision of mind formed without due examination of the facts or arguments which are necessary to a just and impartial determination. It is used in a good or bad sense. Innumerable are the prejudices of education. We are accustomed to believe what we are taught and to receive opinions from others without examining the grounds by which they can be supported. A man has strong prejudice in favor of his country or his party or the church in which he has been educated, and often our prejudices are unreasonable. A judge should disabuse himself of prejudice in either favor, party, or in a suit. So that was the first definition. The second definition: a previous bent or bias of the mind for or against any person or thing, preposition. And then the third definition: mischief, hurt, damage, injury. Violent factions are a prejudice to the authority of the sovereign.
That actually is interesting. Because it even, when you think of prejudice, we often think of negatively. The most common, I think, use of prejudice over the past even 100 years has been prejudice in regards to person to person. Yeah. Nationality, or sometimes in regards to gender. Which, I mean, to be fair, there has been on both sides. There always is, because people. But that shows that there's something deeper below that. It's not just everybody hates one group of people. It's that we all have something in us that make us make assumptions about people for no reason. And one part that I really have to bring out of this definition, is this Merriam-Webster? The 1611? 1812, is that right?
I think it's 1828.
Okay.
Webster's 1828 dictionary. I don't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
It's okay. About halfway through, he goes into a more wordy explanation. Oh, thank you. It is absolutely my birthday. Don't even question it.
It's not his birthday yet.
What? No. Not till July. For those of you that are going to camp, my birthday is Monday of camp, so I am expecting a present. Anyway, halfway through, he talks about he talks about kind of a practical use of prejudice. He says, "We are accustomed to believe what we are taught, and to receive opinions from others without examining the grounds by which they can be supported. A man has strong prejudice in favor of his country, his party, or the church in which he has been educated." Wow, that's
nowadays
a lot.
we call that, we just have labeled that as bias.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And it is prejudice, because, like, for instance, a lot of people, and I have no problem with people being patriotic. Absolutely none. But a lot of people, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm a youth and I'm seeing a more degraded, United States than some of the older people have seen. But a lot of people take patriotism as kind of like a religion. Like, you have to be. Like, you are more spiritual if you're patriotic. And it's like, absolutely, I stand for my country, but I'm not willing to just blindly say this is amazing. In fact, I know some people that even go further to the extreme of the other side and are like, yeah, I don't even like my country. No, our country is still pretty good, comparatively. But to have this bias that I love my country and I'm a patriot, even when the country starts going against God, that probably would be defined as prejudice. And, and it's still okay to be a patriot to an extent, and it's still okay to especially stand with the things that they used to stand for, stuff in the Constitution. But I feel like it's kind of like I'm a Packer fan. I think I've worn a Packer shirt before, and I still am, and they're not very good. I don't think they even made it into the playoffs. They got beat by the Lions twice, which I'm very not okay with, because Wisconsin's absolute pride and joy is to berate anyone with a Lions costume. And I have a coworker who is a Lions fan, and he's been able to rub it in my face twice that the unbeatable team just got beat twice pathetically. by what is supposed to be losers.
Anyway, so back to Prejudice.
And I'm still a Packer fan. Because I'm prejudiced towards it. Because my mom and my dad are Packers fans. And my grandma and my other grandma and my grandpa were like, our whole family, Packers fans.
Yeah, so...
Most. Except for the ones that were married in. That's not our fault.
The opinion or decision of mind formed without due examination of the facts.
Yep.
Or, a prejudgment. So a judgment before... That's what prejudice is. It's prejudice, prejudgment.
Prejudicial. Oh, that makes sense. So, also presupposition would be that would be very similar.
Yeah, jumping to conclusions.
Huh.
That's essentially that's the simplified form of prejudice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you're prejudiced, then it's someone who has beliefs and ideas and traditions and thoughts that aren't backed up by facts. So, and there seems to be an element of pride in it as well. It's something you're not willing to give up, and it seems to be held personally in a lot of areas where people are prejudiced. This is my belief. This is what I think. And I think even in religion we can be prejudiced, actually, especially. I've seen it in, bunch of different places. People I disagree with, people I agree with, being prejudiced towards certain aspects that really don't have facts to back them up.
Another form of prejudice is having a bias against anybody of a certain belief or nationality or whatever the prejudice is against, of anybody of that group.
Yeah.
Without knowing the individual.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the main form that prejudice takes.
Now, Andrew, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a little bit. That sounds a lot like racism.
Racism
So
is
what's the difference?
an extension of prejudice.
Correct. But
Prejudice is... Racism is prejudice. But prejudice is not racism.
okay.
Racism is literally just prejudice against a person of a different nationality.
Yeah.
It's just one small aspect of prejudice. But prejudice is not confined within racism.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about that earlier, actually.
That does make sense because we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
And one other thing is that sometimes people can be prejudiced based on someone's culture rather than the race. So the way they're brought up. And they'll maybe associate it with their race. Like all the jokes made about certain nationalities or certain people that live in certain cities. It's because of the environment, of the patterns they see in the environment, rather than the skin color of a person. And so, even though I don't agree with that, and I think it's not right, I think sometimes the word racist is overused to just blanket the term of anyone who's different than you and you have a different opinion of them because of that. Which, I mean, though often it is prejudice, sometimes it's based on evidence.
Yeah.
and it's not always can be classified as racist. But, that's just my hot take for today.
Mm-hmm.
But, going back to prejudice, the other thing that we need to separate it from is discrimination and segregation. Are you being discriminatory for being prejudiced? Can you be one without the other?
I think I need to know the definition
Look up discrimination.
of discrimination.
See, I have a theory that it is possible, or at least for a small amount of time.
I don't remember for sure, but I think. How do you spell discrimination?
Discrimination.
Discrimination.
Yeah, that's how you spell it with Google.
The act of distinguishing. The act of making or observing a difference, distinction, as a discrimination between right and wrong. The state of being distinguished. The mode of distinction. Discrimination is literally noticing the difference.
Oh,
That's all discrimination.
There's a lot of people. Then that means there's a lot of people being labeled as prejudiced and racist that are just discriminating.
Mm.
That's interesting. Because often, so there's this whole... And I'm going to get into it just because...
Looking at a different dictionary.
Oh.
Which is not my favorite dictionary. But it says, unfair treatment of a person or group on the basis of prejudice. So, discrimination as it's used in...
modern.
Used the most modernly, is literally just another product of...
So it's the act of prejudice.
Prejudice, yeah.
It's like the verb of prejudice.
Well,
in modern.
Yeah. Technically, prejudice can be used as a verb, but nobody uses it like that.
So, discrimination is just a misused word, then.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Because, by definition, prejudice, prejudge, and discrimination is, just...
Before you know anything about it.
Yeah.
Discrimination is looking at two things that you know about and seeing the difference. For example, discrimination of our watches would be, I know this is a Garmin, that's an Apple. I just made a discriminatory remark in saying that this is Garmin, that's Apple.
And seeing as I know how long that lasts and I know how long this lasts, I know that this is going to die faster from 100%. Because what are you at right now?
Well, I just charged it today, so I'm at pretty much 100%.
I charged it
95.
at... I took it off the charger at, I believe, 6:05.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm at, I believe, 48%.
I just charged it today after taking it off the charger on Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I have to charge mine at least once a day.
Yeah.
And so we just discriminated.
Yeah. We just
that doesn't mean
between...
either watch is less.
Yeah.
It means they're different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think discriminating is a good thing.
Yeah.
By its actual definition.
Yes,
I think discrimination even between genders, races, cultures, groups, beliefs.
Although technically, so...
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, I used the wrong word.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Races. That's a problem. It's in my vocabulary, and it's in so many people's vocabularies.
Mm-hmm.
Is because we're all one race.
Yes, there's the human race.
There's people from different nations.
Yes, which is why I was saying nationality earlier.
Exactly.
Yes.
And you're absolutely right. Because adding race into it, it's not, again, it's not the proper use of the word.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we're both, bigger quotes here, white.
Yeah.
But, I mean, even in the viewfinder or whatever, you can tell.
I'm lot
You're
whiter.
like vampire.
Oh, we didn't change the presets on there. We're gonna change it.
Oh yeah. Oh well, whatever.
Oh well.
But yeah.
Otherwise, I would look less vampire. It's because of that light. And then, but you're still red.
Mm-hmm.
So that means because of that we are different races. No, it doesn't. Don't you dare agree with me. I'm trying to make a point. No.
Yeah, and literally the only difference in color between people's skin is just because of the pigmentation. It's
or
all
the blood flow. That's what
blood
like
flow,
yours.
pigmentation.
That's yep.
It's all brown technically. It's just how much brown shows through.
Yeah, and the thing is, the reason it's very clear that we're not different races is someone from Asia can give a kidney to someone from Africa, and it works as long as they have the same blood type.
As I've heard many times, we all bleed red.
We all bleed red. I heard a different version of that, but that one's better. But yeah, it's just that's a huge thing to get out of your head. There is one race.
Yeah.
And that's it. And so exactly. So we need to get the idea that they're black and I'm white. That's kind of stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And it can you can accidentally cause a divide.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you feel like you're talking to someone else. Right? You're talking to a different type of person.
Mm.
When you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that really, if you stop thinking about, like, this even goes, for nationality, age, rank, wealth. If you just kind of try to take all of that out of your head when talking to people, like, I've been able to have much better conversations with adults than I did just, like, a year or two ago. Because I'm just like, it doesn't matter. We're both just people trying to figure life out.
In that specific case, it does help when you are an adult. You have kind of...
It does.
Your mentality is a little different, but yes.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, though.
But it helps to, as much as you can, just think, well, we're both going through things, and we're really all the same when it comes down to it, When you're talking to someone, it just, it's just something to, I'm rambling, and I didn't have anything else to say. I did have a point, and then I lost it about halfway through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we can go on to our next observation on prejudice, and that's the victim mentality.
Yes. Feeling that you are experiencing prejudice. Which in itself can many times be prejudice. Because, and this is another time they use discrimination, which, like we found out isn't accurate, but there's a lot of times where we feel discriminated against. We feel prejudice towards us. We feel, because I'm a guy, because I'm a Christian, because I'm this, that, or the other, because I grew up here, because I went to school here, now I'm being treated differently. And to an extent, that is true. Everyone's going to be treated differently based on their life experience. Based on because then we do make presuppositions of a lot of people based on what we know of other people that are similar.
The victim mentality is almost you started hitting on a little bit,
and then
and then kind of the victim mentality is essentially prejudice in and of itself.
Yeah,
because yes, maybe people have a prejudice against you and you're experiencing that, but then having the mentality of one be experiencing prejudice, and the victim mentality is more often applied to people who are not experiencing prejudice against them, but they think they are.
People who are not victims.
Yes, the victim mentality is often found in people who are not
Exactly.
actually victims, and which is, as I was just saying, literally prejudice against.
People who are not prejudiced.
Yeah, and so it's just interesting how many things prejudicism affects, that prejudging, that just making assumptions against people or for whatever. Like, I make assumptions all the time,
Yeah, me too.
but and most of the time I'm right. But I also,
You just have a bit of a gift for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
but there's, I'm not exactly sure where I'm trying to go with that.
Well, but you have to be careful. Because
Yes.
all it takes, that's the thing about assumptions, is you really can use assumptions to your advantage if you know how to use them. Because there's certain things you can assume. You can assume a stove is going to be hot. You can assume when you turn a car, it's gonna start up. Now that's not always true, but if you assume it, you're not gonna have to check every part of the engine every time you get in your car. I can assume that this is streaming to people. Have I been wrong before? Yes.
Yeah.
But if I have to constantly be rechecking, that's called being a OCD. and it's also just makes it a lot harder just as people. So God gave us the ability to assume. But that assumption can't apply everywhere. And it can't apply all the time. So when it comes to people, you can only assume so far.
Yes, because people have free will.
Yep, and people are individual. And so someone could have been, let's say, they were brought up in public school, don't have godly parents, they didn't want to live for the Lord, they knew nothing about, the Lord. You could assume that they're not going to be good for the Lord, or they're not going to be receptive to the gospel. And you could be very wrong, as I've found out twice already. People that Lord has helped me lead to Him because I've learned that there's times you can't assume. And I think to an extent you've learned that as well.
Yeah.
And so, assuming, if you start prejudging people, you can actually lose a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. There's that old saying, you can't judge a book by its cover, talking about how you can't judge a person by their appearance, by how they seem to be when you first meet them, when you first see them, which is true. But yeah, so that's true. You can't. I will say first impressions do make the most difference.
Yeah.
And so being the person making the first impression, you gotta be careful what you're doing.
Yeah, I would say I would probably revise that phrase. Don't judge a book by its cover. But a cover can say something about the book. So it's not that you can't judge a book by its cover, it's just probably best not to.
Yeah. Yeah, because there are certain ways to be able to kind of determine how a person is or how they're going to be just
At least
by,
on the outside.
yeah, by watching them. But even then,
You have to be careful.
Yeah, you just have to be careful and everything. But with prejudice, that's just automatically assuming that a person is this way by just, do you know them? No, I've never met them before. Well, then
How do you know that?
Why do you think that this, that, yeah, oh, they're from a different religion. They're from a different nationality. Their skin color's a little different.
They're from this city.
Yeah.
Chicago. What? Oh.
But it's back to the victim mentality. You have to remember that feeling like everybody's against you without actual, if you can't give me, I guess you could say, hard facts on the matter, then that's just prejudice. That's literally it all.
And not only that, but it's also shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
Because then it robs you of a lot of the joy of life.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, man, this is a beautiful day, you say, man, why doesn't anyone notice my fork ring? my silverware ring. No one notices it. No one's complimented me on it today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just put it on before I got here, and you've already seen it. But I'm very offended you didn't compliment me on it.
I noticed it, and I thought about it, but yeah, no, I didn't say anything.
Yeah. Exactly. And so, if I think that people just hate me because I'm wearing a silverware ring, and I live my entire life like that, then I'm going to be a much more miserable person. When in reality, it's just that most people didn't even think about it.
Mm-hmm. Or we're right in the middle of something, so I didn't say anything.
Exactly.
And I've seen it before, so why bother?
Exactly. You just gave me. We just came up with 3 reasons why someone might not have commented on it.
Mm-hmm.
So in real life, life's a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
It's not just they hate me because it's they were busy, they were frustrated, they had a lot on their mind.
Mm-hmm.
They had a kid screaming that needed to get a nap, and so they just rushed right back past you.
Yeah, it's I think the main occurrence of victim mentality is within the mid-teen years.
Yeah.
That's where you're gonna see it the most. I'm not saying
Basically,
that's the only time.
A lot of time, like middle school, and in recent years, it's crept up to like nearly college age.
Mm-hmm.
When it stops.
That's kind of your major portion of it. Now, there are people that deal with it long past that. There are people that deal with it before that. But that's kind of the main part. Yeah. And a lot of the reasoning that you hear is, well, nobody talked to me. Nobody ever talks to me. Yeah. Nobody ever comes up and compliments, what I'm wearing. Nobody ever this, nobody ever that, and so everybody must hate me. Yeah. That's kind of your main point, I can't think of the right word.
Accusation.
Occurrence.
Oh, yeah.
Main occurrence of victim mentality. And that's literally prejudice. Yeah. Because you're just like...
You judge the entire human race based off of like 3 people you met that day.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody hates me.
You turn yourself into a martyr just because you have a bad personality.
Yeah. Maybe people are avoiding you.
Maybe they are.
Because of your personality.
Yeah, exactly. That's the huge thing to think about is... And one thing I learned actually a lot from you and other people is excuses don't help anything. Mm-hmm. And I feel, this is probably going to be harsh, but it applies to myself as well. A lot of victim mentality is just excuses for not being a better person.
Yes.
It is, I am sad that people don't accept me for exactly the way I want to just stay. I want to stay this way, and I want people to be okay with it. And they're not. And now I'm upset.
Yeah, we can make a point right there. I want to stay this way. I don't want to put the work into being a better person.
Yeah.
And so people don't accept me because, and maybe because they can tell you're not putting the work into being a better person.
Exactly.
And you're mad that they, air quotes, hate you because of that. And you're all feeling the martyrdom of life.
Feeling the hurts.
Yeah. And it's just prejudice. It's just
It is.
the victim mentality. That's
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really that's not the biggest. The biggest one is definitely what's known as racism. That's definitely our biggest.
Well, today,
I don't know, actually. I think
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Today, there's a lot of things that go under the guise of racism. And it's people complaining about it.
Mm-hmm.
People saying others are racist towards them.
Victim mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that they're not actually having people being racist towards them. They're seeing that because they don't want to improve as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen that for multiple people with multiple, and it's not even race, it's other things. It's, you know, gender, religion, politics, anything that you hold to. It's that prejudice of holding to something for no reason. It's and what they're holding to is people don't like me because of something I can change or something I can't change.
Yeah.
And so I would contest that most of the prejudice and discrimination that's happening is actually victim mentality. Because I know a lot of the people that are being accused of racism, sexism, unfair this, unfair that, are just normal people trying to do their best, and then people whine about it.
Yeah.
And so I think probably the biggest one is victim mentality.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I probably know there's a few things to blame, and there's one that I want to just briefly touch on, which is a problem that a certain social media site has allowed people to continue to be children and glorified it, being that of TikTok, and then it became super popular. Though I'm very hopeful. I just have to share this as absolutely off topic. But there is research and like data, like money data coming out showing that short form content is not profitable. They can't monetize it as well. And they can monetize long form content better. Content where people discuss things and research things and give large explanations to a question. And like just a little while ago, the creator fund for Instagram Reels got cut. Like deleted.
Oh.
You no longer make money with it. And so I'm very hopeful that possibly TikTok will, because they are still losing money even with how many people they have. And the fact that they still don't pay their creators almost anything. They're still losing money. So I'm hoping we'll be returning to long-form content that properly explains ideas.
That'd be nice.
And then that might help with all these people being children. But then there is the news media.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about that. Continue.
I was actually going to go a little to a different direction. I was just realizing there is actually good forms of prejudice.
Yeah.
And I mean, it kind of makes sense. We touched on it just a little bit. There's the different like patriotism, like you're saying.
Yeah.
It gets a little overboard, but at the same time, it's good to have that
Have that patriotic,
yeah.
the patriotism for your
Yeah,
country,
'cause-
that having that vigor for your country, because when push comes to shove, if a war breaks out, it's probably not going to be the Polish military that's gonna
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah, we need people having prejudice toward or prejudice against others for our country. But anyway,
Yeah.
there's examples like that. There's examples
Also, like harmless prejudice, like loving Star Wars, or liking a football team, or having certain friends that you like them better, even though there's other people that are great, but it's just these are my friends, so I like them better.
Mhm. There's also the a good prejudice of family. Like, for
Yeah.
example, I'm married.
Yeah.
Now, I have a prejudice against any other woman who's not my wife in that way.
According to the Bible, she's a strange woman.
Yeah. And so that is probably one of the biggest examples of a good prejudice.
Yeah, because there's not necessarily a reason for you to choose your wife over any other woman.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, just objectively, there's other godly Christian women, but she's your wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't prefer her because you looked at the facts. You prefer her because you just made a decision. And so, yeah, that's a very good prejudice. And a good use of prejudice is I like my wife regardless. I love my wife regardless. And nothing's going to change that.
Yeah. So
it's not all bad.
yeah, there's all this horrible prejudice out there.
Yep.
There's even some good prejudice. But what are some ways that we can counteract the bad prejudice?
Well, here's one big one that comes to mind. And we were talking about this on the way home from lunch. One of the huge ways that we develop prejudice, and one of the best ways to counteract it, is with dealing with stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, stereotypes like prejudice can be good sometimes. They help us group people together and get an overall understanding of certain groups. It's like the Canadians speak English. Well, some of them speak French, but close enough. Mm-hmm. The Americans speak English. Not all of them. There's people that are citizens that still speak mostly Spanish. Mm-hmm. And so there's certain assumptions we can make that, even if not completely accurate, give us a good perspective of a group. Mm-hmm. But when you start taking a stereotype of a group, like group speakers will often use stereotypes, and that's fine, because they're speaking to 100, 200, 300,000 people. They can't speak to every single person, and they can't bring up every single situation. Mm. But when you're talking to someone one-on-one, and it's you and them, it's better to not bring stereotypes into it. Mm. Because it's really hard to understand every single person if you're talking to 1,000 people. But it's really easy to just lay your stereotypes aside and ask one person about themselves.
Yeah. And you're just saying not to put that one person that you're talking to into a stereotype.
Yeah, don't just assume they're some way because a group they're associated with is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so that's
one way, is understanding. Because I have a view of stereotypes. I never liked them. And I never saw the use in them. I'm like, these things are useless, they're just annoying. And then as I've gotten older, I've understood it's like, we're going to have the guys play football because most guys like football. We're going to have the girls not play football because most girls don't like playing football. I know some girls that like playing football, like my producer. And that's not representative of the general demographic. So when we're at camp, the girls during girls game time don't normally play a highly intense capture the flag where you're literally shoving people and making them fly.
well, okay, not last year anyway.
Oh, that's true. They're never. I take that back. They do break the stereotype. Some at that camp that sometimes the girls go crazy. I've heard of cuts, bleeding, scratches, bruises,
Broken limbs.
Wait, what has that happened
pretty
at that
sure.
camp?
Yeah.
Broken bones?
Yeah, there's been broken bones at camp. At least one.
And it was the girls.
Yeah, this girl, she's on crutches.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway.
Again, against the stereotype.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
But counteracting negative prejudice.
and the other way, so like one of those things is saying, prejudice happens when you are not informed or educated. Now, that can be, but sometimes people are informed and educated, and just because it's an irrational thought without any facts or basis, they'll continue to believe it, even when they have evidence to the contrary. And so the best way to counteract it is actually to just, if you are prejudiced towards someone, forget the prejudice and love them the way Christ loved. Because Christ, he sat at meat with publicans and sinners. He did not approve of what they were doing. But he didn't let that influence his opinion of them as people. Because he knew who they really were. He said he knew that they were sinners in need of repentance. They were sick and needed a physician.
He is no respecter of persons.
And and God is no respecter of persons. And so if we understand that, then it actually doesn't matter. You can be talking to a priest, you could be talking to a pastor, you could be talking to a drunk. They're all sinners in need of repentance. Hopefully the pastor found the Lord. Otherwise we got problems. But even if he hasn't, it still stands. And so that's the biggest thing is loving them how Christ loved. It's not the black person. It's not the weird kid. It's not, any of those things. It's all these people, I will discriminate. You're different than me. Different ages, different genders, different this. And so there are some times where treating them differently is necessary because it's more proper. And then, that goes into being a gentleman and understanding the differences in different people, how to treat children and such. But at the end of the day, we're just sinners that Christ loved. And in that, we're all the same. So the best way, and it's hilarious because the world, they have so many movies where the answer is love. And the funny part about that is they don't understand love in the slightest, but they're right.
Yes.
It's just not their kind of love. The answer is true love, loving the way Christ loved. Love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Love your neighbor as yourself. Because if you love your neighbor as yourself, you normally don't have bad opinions of yourself. So you're not going to have a bad opinion of others if you treat them like you would treat yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Was it?
I'm just curious if we've done an episode
On?
on love.
No, not yet. I don't think so.
We've done stuff that.
Yeah, let's see here. Empathy, patience, study, honesty. I think we've gone close.
We've gotten close with some things. We've gotten to some different,
like salvation, keeping friends. There's stuff that refers to it, but I don't think we've done one specifically on love.
We'll have to do that sometime, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so love. That's
That's hilarious. But yeah, it's true.
Love is the counteract to negative prejudice.
Because at the end of the day, we're supposed to love them how Christ loved.
Mm-hmm.
And how that looks practically, of course, is
a whole nother episode.
Yeah. Because that's a little more to get into as far as how to treat people.
Well, so now we just told them that
it's a whole nother episode.
The counteractive to negative prejudice is love. But now we need to explain love. We should almost do that next.
That should probably be the next one.
We'll have to do that next. So now
All
we
right.
know what our next episode is.
Next week, we're talking about love. And what that looks like for real. And also what fake love looks like and how to avoid it.
Well, we kind of know what fake love looks like. It's all over the place.
It is. But we probably want to define it so we can distinguish between the two.
Yes.
So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Prejudice. It's literally just a predetermined bias against peoples of different groups without any argument or facts to back up the bias.
Yeah, and it can be either you judging them or you thinking everyone's judging you, even though that's not true. And the best way to do it is just to treat them all the way the Lord did.
No respecter of persons.
Yeah.
Including yourself.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's necessary.
Yeah.
So that about wraps that up. Andrew, what made you happy this week?
A few things, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. Let's see here. Well, okay, so Friday was one of the times we went down to Green Bay. And that's our shopping date night. Whatever.
Okay, yeah.
And so we went out for supper, and we actually went to Chipotle. That's the first time I've ever been to Chipotle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was really good. We will have to come back again.
Mexican Applebee's.
Yeah, so that was good. That made me kind of happy. And then Saturday, my grandma had a spring party at her house.
Ah, yes, that was
a lot of fun. That was happy. Sunday, never mind. Sunday we were going back to our house Sunday afternoon, and there's an ice cream shop between our house and church.
Oh, it's so tempting.
And coming over the hill and just see the ice cream shop there, and I'm like, hey, they're open. So yeah, I stopped and got ice cream. We got ice cream.
Oh,
that made me happy. Like I'm like, this is making me happy.
yeah.
Then yesterday we went down to Green Bay again.
Yep.
But we were meeting up with Joanna and Micah, and
Oh, you did it yesterday.
yes, that's why we.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, so we met up with them. We stopped at a place called Fresh Kind Kitchen down in Green Bay. So essentially what they do is they give you a bowl. It's got rice on the bottom, a sauce, or like a dressing or something. It's got veggies and some meat and different stuff like that all in there. And they just give that to you in a fork. And it looked really cool. It tasted really good.
Really?
Yeah.
So you just walk in and here you go.
Yeah, you walk in, you're like, I want that one. They put it all together right in front of you, and then, yeah, and sit down, eat it, or you can take it to go, whatever. Yeah, it was really good. It was cool. That's another place I should go back to sometime.
Yeah.
Decent prices and everything. And anyway, but we did that, and so then afterwards, well, mid food time,
Yeah.
Joanna starts talking about crumble cookie, because
Yeah.
they found out about crumble cookie down in Florida while they're down there. And anyway, so yeah, after they had Micah's brother Malachi with them too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his twin brother. Anyway, so then after supper, okay, we need to go get some crumble cookie. Now,
yeah,
we figured we were slightly justified because, we had to park like half a mile away for free parking, because it's the Daily Buzz. You know where the Daily Buzz is in Green Bay? It's just down the road from that, so it's all metered parking.
Wait,
until 6.
Crumble cookie is?
No. The restaurant.
Oh,
the restaurant. So
I understand.
Yeah,
yep.
Sorry, I didn't give correct context. I had to park like half a mile away, so we had
Wow.
like a mile of walking in there. And so we're like, we're gonna go get some cookie. So we went, grabbed some crumble cookie. Then we stopped by Quick Trip. Ruth and I got some coffee. They got some milk. And then we went to a park and we just sat at a table, ate cookies, drank our drinks, and it was just a lot of fun. We just sat there, and it was like 8:30 by the time we left the park.
Wow.
Yeah, that was just a lot of fun. Ruth and I, after that, were just like, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, that was making me happy. So yeah,
wow,
I was pretty happy this week.
Oh, you had a good week.
Especially the weekend. Yeah.
Wow, that was. Yeah, it sounds very relaxing and enjoyable.
It was a lot of fun.
For me, let's see here. Spring party was a lot of fun. That was really nice. I was able to be there too. And not a ton happened except I quit my job.
Pretty much, yeah.
So my last day is Friday. And then I'm done. And I'm doing actually DoorDash instead of factory work, which I'm very happy about. And so that's kind of the highlight and kind of all that went on. I had a pretty uneventful week. It was just, work, did some DoorDash, went back to work, was tired the whole time. Happy I didn't crash my car. I was very tired for a while. For the past 2 months. But yeah, no. It was a lot of fun.
It's kind of funny. I don't know how many people actually do watch all the way through to the end. And if anyone did last week and this week, they're going to be like, hey, Silas just told us last week he quit his job.
Wait, did I?
You quit last Tuesday is when you put in your notice.
I quit last Tuesday. See. Okay, listen. Listen. My memory's bad. I'm probably gonna get like 1,000 DMs. You just told me that. Yeah, my memory is really bad. I thought I quit on Wednesday.
No, you quit last Tuesday.
So, big things in the works.
Mm-hmm.
We had 4 viewers for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
If you guys come back, then it was nice having you. If you don't, then good riddance. And we're having a Smash Brothers tournament.
Yep.
June 2nd, Friday, 5 p.m. More details on the Facebook invite. And again, if you're not a friend of mine on Facebook, why?
Because I don't have Facebook.
In which case, I can give you the details over Instagram. And if you don't have Instagram, get a friend that has Instagram.
Yes.
Um,
Or, well, we got the links in the description. They can.
we do. But the link goes to Facebook.
Yeah, or Instagram.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, so get a friend or a Facebook account and join us.
Or you can even email the email attached to this to your account.
No, it's not public.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then.
It doesn't show up. That's on purpose.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
Or you could. Never mind. I'll talk to you about that later.
okay, cool. We have links for my socials in the description, so you can go there, talk to me, check out the random garbage I put on there. I put a lot of weird stuff on there, but it's a lot of fun.
You can not check me out on social media because I'm not on it. So,
No, he's not on
if
it.
you are able to contact me directly, I will first ask you how you got my number.
So I will see you guys next week. We'll be talking about love, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Not on a Sunday, on a Tuesday. Hopefully, I will have something more interesting to say.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully, we'll be awake more next week.
I think we will. I will.
Yeah.
I'll be more awake next
I might
week.
be.
And we'll see you guys next week.